Well, hi, and welcome back. Well, this morning here, it's a little brisk. That's why I've got this on. But it's supposed to be back up into the mid to high 70s, which is great. But this is the beginning of my series of phases of improvements to my 2008 Pleasureway Ascent. There's going to be 4, 5, maybe 6 videos in this series covering the 4 phases I've put this through to improve it and turn it into what it is now, and also maybe an extra reel on the items that I did as a custom improvement to the rig. So some of these are going to be live action slides and videos, and some of them will be just slides with a narrative to it. But I think you'll find all of my videos of all the things I've done to this rig very interesting, and I think you might be able to find a lot of ideas for your own rig, no matter what you're living in. So without further ado, let's get to it.
On our maiden voyage of what was to be a month-long road trip south, I took everything but the kitchen sink, not knowing what I truly would need. I soon found I took way too much and still did not have what I needed for a good and safe RV adventure across the country, and was not making smart use of the many little storage areas my little RV had built into it already. As on each journey, I had a list of items I packed. In addition to this, I made notes on what I used most and those I did not, and what I should have brought. When we got home from this first trip, I formulated a Phase 1 list of changes and improvements, one of many to come. The first concern was for my upholstery and what the dogs might do to it. Though the RV was already 11 years old, it was in excellent condition, with low mileage for that year, and I wanted to keep the upholstery looking like new. I asked a friend, who was an excellent seamstress, if she could make some custom slipcovers for my seats. She did an excellent job, and even made some custom slipcovers for 2 of my small couch pillows and my headrests on my front seats, from a pattern we found at Joanna's Fabrics. Next, I started a training period with my dogs to get them used to the RV by taking short drives around our home area to get them used to the motion of the coach. I was pleased to see they took to it rather quickly, with Katie claiming the passenger seat to ride shotgun, and Sarah was happy just to sit on her mat between us up front or lay down between the seats on the floor. One of the most important things I missed in my rig was not seeing what was behind me easily. I solved that by having installed a rear backup camera with a 7-inch monitor where my rear view mirror was. I had it hardwired in and the monitor set for constant, so I could always see who or what was behind me going down the road, not just when backing up. The next necessary improvement was my sewer hose and the pipe it came in. When I went to dump my tanks the first time, I found the hose that came with the rig had been whacked off at the end that goes into the sewer receiver hole. Well, being new to RV'n, I just stuffed that hose end into the hole and put a rock on it, then pulled the handle for the black tank. And oh my God! I slammed that handle for the valve in as fast as I could to stop that mess. So once I got that mess cleaned up, I knew I had to get this changed immediately. I got a new sewer hose, a Rhino brand, with good fixtures on each end, but then I found it was too large to fit into the small tube that came on my rig. So I finally got a larger diameter tube that was adjustable in length, and solved the problem. The next item I hated. It was that Continental tire carrier. I cursed that thing up and down the coast, for to get into the driver's rear door I had to unpin and lower that monstrosity, then do a deadlift to put it back in position while I held it there with my shoulder to reinsert the safety pins. That thing came off as fast as possible in Phase 1. When filling my fresh water tank, I had noticed a small but steady leak. I found that the spigot had finally wore out and needed replacing. Once that was done, there was no more leakage. Another very important issue was the old crappy coach battery that gave me so much pain on our first road trip. I replaced that with the deep draw AGM. My RV shop went the extra mile and moved the location of the battery from under the front hood to under the rear couch along the driver's side panel, even fabricating a battery box for it in preparation for my other improvements planned for Phase 1 that we had discussed. My long-term plan was to live off the grid, so the addition of 200-watt solar panels was mandatory. The earlier placement of my new battery box and my battery made the wiring to the roof solar panels much simpler and more direct. On my first road trip, I found rain would come through the fantastic fan when left open for ventilation. I solved this with an addition of a vent cover. Now I could leave the vent open and not have rain or mist falling inside the RV. Then I began looking at the outside appearance of my RV. I knew from my research of the Pleasureway models over the years they had quit putting decals all over their RVs. My decals were old, faded, and cracked. So to update its exterior look, I spent a weekend and cleaned them all off. Next, I got the exterior detailed and the oxidation of the exterior cleaned off and a coat of strong wax put on. The results, you can see, was a brand new look. Next came my new table. Since the earlier owners had misplaced both the table and the support post, I needed to make my own. I found a Lagoon table fixture. I bought a birch board to make my new table from and used a lid from a Rubbermaid storage container I had for just the right size template that I wanted. I had to cut a spacer block and stain it to make the table fit where I wanted to place it, so I could use it also for an extra extension of my kitchen area or as a large work desk for the couch with room to get around it and into the aisleway. My seamstress friend even made a great tablecloth for it. My next big change that freed up an immense amount of space for me in the interior of the coach was the overhead wire rack I saw both on Humble Road and from She to Me YouTube channels. I sprayed the nylon-coated rack gray to match the interior, and it has been the perfect place for me to store my queen-size super sleeping bag and my 2-inch memory foam pad, giving me a huge amount of space in my coach once taken up by these two bulky items. One item that has been a great addition was the Jabra Bluetooth speaker. Where I could not hear my smartphone's navigation over traffic noise or the radio, this allows me to hear clearly and loudly navigation instructions, the radio, or answer calls easily. It has made driving more relaxing and enjoyable. And of course, to make my rig feel more like home, I added a few personal touches, like my adventure sign, my compass, and my reminder as I step out the side door that to do what makes your soul happy is one of the most important things there is. All in all, Phase 1 improvements and upgrades has been a huge success, and I started planning for more changes I knew I wanted to make. That will be in the coming series. I hope you enjoyed this and learned something from it, and I hope you'll stay tuned and watch our videos as we continue our journey across the country. Till we meet again, take care and drive safe.